Welcome back to the episode. Just want to remind everybody, thank you for watching. Also appreciate it if you were to like, comment, and subscribe as well. We're going to talk about today. Great, back on track. Michigan football, Detroit Lions after a tough weekend, taking some tough losses the week before. Um, both teams handled business. Michigan putting up 63, winning by 60. The Lions putting up 52. Winning by what, 30? Yeah, something
Mm,
like that.
yeah.
31, if I'm not mistaken. So yeah, what we're gonna do now is kind of talk about both them games and then also talk about they both got interesting matchups. Both going on the road. Michigan, going to Nebraska, the Lions going to Baltimore. Last time we were there, things didn't end all that well, and yeah, we'll see how Michigan also looks against Nebraska, another road test and open up conference play. But yeah, we'll start off with Michigan. Get over to you, E. Just want to see your thoughts on how the Central Michigan game went.
No, I think beautiful game. I mean, that's the best way to put it. We looked like the dominant squad from the opening kickoff to the end of the game. Sorry about that. It's just a beautiful, beautiful thing to watch. As far as I was hoping we get shut out, but they kind of got the points a little early, and then later on, I was hoping just kind of keep it at that three, just a disrespectful three.
Yeah,
And But as far as the team, things I quickly jump off the screen. Once again, I'm saying every week, Justice Hayes is an NFL back. He is phenomenal. He's shifty, powerful, fast, can read the holes. He is a phenomenal player. And I think once that offensive line gels a little better, deep into that Big Ten season, a week like this upcoming week at Nebraska, just adding to that. I think just lean on him, which makes Bryce Underwood a little more comfortable, which kind of helps out the rest of that offense there. And but overall, I liked what we did with Bryce. I liked the passes, play selections. He was running a lot more, which I think helped to get him a little more comfortable. Helped kind of keep the flow of the offense going as well, where it wasn't so choppy. Where we were just getting those needed, a couple of the yards there, a couple of yards here. But overall, I'm very satisfied.
yeah. No, right there with you. I mean, this is what you wanted to see, after a tough loss to Oklahoma. You just wanted to see them get back to the basics. I like just being able to see them run the ball effectively. Bryce had a great game on the ground. Both the running backs, good to see Jordan Marshall, kind of get going. He actually had, some solid runs called back, if I'm not mistaken, to where he might have had a better day. You even saw like third and fourth string guys all get like 10, 12 carries, 40, 50 yards,
Everybody
and
eats. Yeah.
yeah, and get a touchdown. Defense played well, quite a few turnovers here and there. Barnum, was just looking crazy coming off the edge. I think that's really like his true position. I don't know. I thought the more we see
Yeah.
it, it looks right. Um,
I do think that was a
see,
good wrinkle, a good wrinkle.
yeah,
Just kind of elaborate on that a little bit, and then allowing Cole to step in and play more backer, which I think
yeah.
we mentioned him early. I think after the
He
first game,
he's
he needs to see
rangy.
field a little more. Yeah,
Yeah, he's just a rangy player. Like I don't know. Feel like he's really good at all up, just playing the
Mhm.
pass, the run, rushing the QB to where I think Barnum can be a little, I think he's a better
Just
rusher than he
mhm.
is like, standing up. But yeah, no, you just like what you saw all across the board. Even saw, Jaden Davis step in there for a little bit. Um, and I think this is a great tune-up game, going into this matchup against Nebraska. Where they're 3-0, they're feeling themselves a little bit, probably one of the best starts they've had in a little while. Might have went, 2-1, three. Yeah, I don't know. Doesn't matter. They come, we're going to go see them 3:30 Saturday. It's gonna be another road test for Bryce. I'm in the team. Sharon also not coaching this game. We got Biff Poggi on the sidelines. So what do you think are some of the keys, what we need to do to come away with a victory this Saturday?
Yeah. I think it's always kind of a very similar blueprint for us, and that's just ability to be assertive and be physical.
Yeah,
We have to win the physicality game, win the line of scrimmage on both sides of the ball. And with that, I think that allows our offense to flow through the running backs and play action and just kind of let Bryce get comfortable and kind of stand back there tall and cherry pick. and
Hmm.
we control the line of scrimmage from that point. And then the exact opposite on defense. Be wreak havoc, be able to kind of confuse Dylan Raiola, be able to hopefully get that ball out of his hands a couple of times, kind of shut down and contain their run game and force them to be one dimensional. I think those are the things that we need to do to kind of go down there. And one thing I will say about this is this is not the most hostile environment we've been in. This is not the
Hmm.
best team we've played so far. So I think we are going in knowing a little bit more of what we're made of, and versus them who've kind of Cincinnati. And outside of that, they played a bunch of randoms. So I think knowing what we know about ourselves, I think we are maybe a slightly more prepared for this type of game, where we know what works against high quality components, what don't. They probably still out there thinking they can do damn near whatever they want, and I think so. A little more battle tested, and because of that, I hope we can get the ground running, or hit the ground running, get on top of them, and then just kind of smother them. That's kind of
Yeah,
what my game plan would be for us to kind of go out on the Lincoln and steal one.
for sure. Yeah, and I think I agree with a lot of that. And I don't know, I think before you even jumped on here, this is also one of them games where, you just don't really know what you're gonna get, I feel like in some instances, some cases. But I think like you were saying, we do feel like there's some things we can do. Like, I think we are better than them in the trenches.
Mm-hmm.
I feel like, more physical team. I think we have, got better defense, better front seven, on both sides of the ball to where um, we should be able to, handle business. But I know this is like a, kind of a big spot for them too. This is, you know, super, a huge win for them. I mean, I was watching some clips on YouTube about how some people are really saying like these tend to be those games when Michigan comes into town, this could like change your life. Like this, I was watching a show with Jake Butt and Devin Gardner, like they legit said that. Like, so and Rayola, in his second year, imagine he's, gonna be, playing better in bigger games like this and things along those lines. But um, yeah, I think it'd be one of those where if we can run the ball, play sound defense, score. I think 23 to 24 points gets the job done. I think that's something that we can do if we're as long as we're successful, the things we do best.
Yeah. No, you just mentioned Dylan Raiola for a second, and obviously very solid player, younger guy, son of Michigan, son of Lions legend,
Oh
Dominic
yeah,
Rosado. But looking at his stuff from last year, hit the ground running as a freshman. Um, if you look after the week of the 28th of September, he had 1, 2, 3, 4, 5 weeks of no touchdowns, and basically he fell off the face of the earth as far as production and touchdown passes after the fourth week, and that's about when the Big Ten schedule started. Um, he, you talk about the offensive line a lot. You look at anytime they play somebody worth talking about in the Big Ten, he's sacked 4 times versus Illinois, sacked six times versus Illinois, 4 times versus Rutgers, 4 times versus Ohio, 4 times versus Iowa. So they're that offensive line cracks, and I think
yeah,
that's the type of blueprint we need. Where, yeah, I think he can spin the laces around and move the ball a little bit, and then boom,
hmm
sacked for 13-yard loss, sacked for whatever, and then he spits that ball out. We jump on top of it, and then that little 10-point cushion we have opens up to that 17 or whatever, however that looks, and then we're completely in control.
for
Um,
sure. And that's one thing too. Like you hit it right on the head there. I mean, we know what it is as far as just what Michigan brings to the table as far as D line, defensive
mhm.
ends, and that's going to be critical. I think in this game especially because on the back end we should get Rod Moore back, which would be nice. You got to imagine
Yeah,
he's not going to be no crazy amount of plays anything like that, but a little young on the back end. You
yeah,
got Jair Hill. I think he's in his second year, third year.
at least, yeah, probably third.
I think it's his third year, if I'm not mistaken. He's been playing pretty well. I think that second corner, it's been kind of a toss. They've had injuries over there. It's kind of been a lot going on in that other corner spot. I think
Mhm.
Eric Berry, even though he's been a little
Yeah,
hurt, I think he's over there. I don't think he was over there a ton this past game.
solid.
I
Just
yeah, just
pass coverage.
right
Just a little. I don't know, just a way to say he just has complete lapses from time to time.
for
Uh,
sure.
But
Yeah, you hope just like I don't know. I think with this game, you just clean up the tackling. Like I just how I feel like the Oklahoma game. Like I think if tackling was like, you make at least two of them sacks on what's it, Mateer. Like you just
mm,
gotta kind of like when you get home, like make it count. Tackle in space and just do those things on top of getting to Rayola. I think they'll be in a good spot, but definitely starts with that D line, making them one dimensional as soon as possible.
yeah, and I think I'm not overly familiar with Nebraska's kind of offense, but I imagine they're going to try to do the similar thing that Oklahoma did, just them little screen passes, dinks and dunks to try to use our D line against us. But if we can kind of disrupt that and get that out of rhythm and kind of knock that out of that playbook, like I said, they're not going to be able to do it to the high caliber that Oklahoma did.
Yeah,
It's just a matter of cleaning up what we did there. We did a lot right in that game, and we also did a lot wrong. So I think we used the Central game to bounce back and then try to incorporate the two game plans for that. But kind of what do you? I don't know if you elaborated to your score or not, but kind of what are your thoughts on score?
yeah,
It's gonna look for you.
yeah. No, I'm gonna go with I think 24-20. Yeah, my score. I think we'll be able to get the red zone a couple times. Score just enough, and I think they'll be able to maybe put one on the board late. But I do think we're gonna get their best shot. Like this is like last time we went down there. I mean, it was a night game, but that team,
Mm-hmm.
it was that I feel like we were better than them last time, and it was pretty close, too. So
Yeah.
yeah, it'll be close.
No, I agree with you. It's going to be a pretty close one. I'm going 30-24. I think that once again, I probably said the last 3 or 4 seasons now that 30 point is a magic number for these big games. And I just feel very, very good if we can get to that number, knowing that our defense probably is not going to lapse and give up more than 30 on most given Saturdays. So
Right.
yeah.
Yeah. Well,
No,
yeah.
I'm going to, I think it's going to be a big one. Little sneaky. I don't know. Probably not the primetime game, but a little sneaky good game, and I'm looking forward to it. It's kind of.
Yeah. It's a good test. Good test for
Mhm.
sure. Um, so yeah, no, we'll kind of shift gears and to Sunday, this past Sunday, Lions got back on track. And it was everything I thought it would be and more. You know, enjoyed every second of it. It was personal. I think it was great to kind of stick it to Ben Johnson. And really just show that, I don't, like I said, all offseason, I don't think we're gonna miss him as much as you know, the national media thinks. And I think that's, it's a testament of what we saw on Sunday. I feel like, it's close, for like this first quarter and a half. And, I think that touchdown right before the half, we were kind of able to pull away, and that was really the nail in the coffin. Ran it up on them. Loved when they went for it on like 4th and 6 and got it to get the
Yeah,
50.
yeah, yeah.
Yeah, I think it was just a great showing, clean up some stuff. O-line looked great. I think it was just like Michigan had against Central. I think this is a good, tune-up game, and it was against Ben Johnson. And it was a division opponent, so we in the win column in the division, which is huge too.
Damn. So G just compared Chicago Bears to Central Michigan.
Yeah, hey, playing the Bears is a tune-up game.
No,
You
no, I'm
know,
talking shit. Um, no, I think I agree with a lot. I think me and you differ on the fact that I was a little more ready to hit the panic button after that first week than you were. And I think through 2 weeks, rightfully so on your behalf, where it's like, just kind of, hey, pause, let's see what happens here. Let the young guys develop. So I think they did answer a lot of questions. I think we probably did play. I'm not going to call Green Bay the best, but let's say early season hottest team in our division, early season worst team in our division. I think it was a good swing of the two totem poles on that, and I do think that's kind of the interesting kind of just yin and yang of that whole situation. And I think this season as a whole, we've said a lot about how it's going to be what 11-6, 12-5, best case scenario, somewhere in that ballpark. So I mean, that's a lot of not a lot, but that's a good amount of losses when you consider last year when we had two. And so I do think there's going to be the roller coaster this year. And I say, let's say, I'm saying it to myself that if we go and get the break speed offense versus Baltimore, I don't want to come back on here and be like, oh my God, like, but I do think
Yeah,
we have things that we need to address, like that D line, but all that looked very sound in that second game. D line looked good. Hutch was backfiring. Branch, phenomenal player. He looked like Ed Reed, Troy
yeah.
Polamalu. Like he cut from that cloth where, you keep him around, he's going to do special things.
That
Uh,
fumble,
yeah, it
that
was
fumble he
crazy.
forced.
I mean, him and Kirby Joseph, that's a badass little duo to have as your safety unit. And so I'm excited about all the things that we've seen there. And it was good just to kind of see. And I think the offense, that's what I was gonna say. I think the offense took a different approach. That first week, I don't know if it was from what Green Bay was doing, but it just looked bad. Offense, they were passing the ball, barely past the line of scrimmage every time. Uh, just not getting our key playmakers involved, whether it was J Mo going deep
Yeah,
or
they said
Jameer Gibbs. So
they couldn't hear each other on the O line, or like the communication just wasn't clean. So like that just kind of attributed to Goff being hurried, and you gotta give him credit 'cause he was checking the ball down. Like he was like 31 to 39 for like like 220.
yeah,
So like yeah, so that's where it sounds like obviously at home it's not as loud, and you imagine they cleaned up whatever they cleaned up to go into Baltimore to where it's like they can be a little more aggressive getting the ball downfield
right.
because they said like these are analysts that I'm listening to where like there's opportunities downfield. He just didn't have time.
No,
So
for sure. And I think they clearly communicated better the offensive line because it was not you didn't see someone like just a boneheaded plays double blocking people or just not blocking somebody or whatever the
yeah.
case may be. Um, and I think, like we said after the first week, the O line probably would gel over time and get better.
Hmm.
That D line, I still think there's a little bit of question marks there as far as I mean, even Davenport went down.
To get the against the run, just like that is something that is good to see. Yeah, I don't know Davenport.
Yeah,
He's like ankle and shoulder, something like that.
no,
I do like what I saw from Al Qadim Muhammad.
and Talik Williams clogging up that middle. I will give him credit.
Couple
He looked
batted
like
balls.
yeah, he looked like I can't even
Yeah.
think of my man's. I'm blanking on my man's name. I'm overshooting it a lot, but my man that used to play at the Patriots for all them years, just
Oh,
kind of
Will
like a
Fork.
fucking yeah, just a fucking blob in the middle. Like he wasn't really
Yeah.
moving up the field much, but nothing was moving him either. Uh,
Hmm.
and if that's what he brings, then I think
Yeah.
that's needed as well. Him, you get Elena Nail back, Hutch, Davenport healthy. You kind of got a little, you do got a little something there. It's just a couple players got to get healthy and take a next step or two above.
Yeah. And we might, and who knows, I think maybe we're biased at the trade deadline when if there's teams like, Miami or,
Yeah,
some of these other teams, they end up just kind of bottoming out in the next like 7 to 8 weeks.
for
Yeah, I
sure.
think it'll be a good opportunity to see what Al Qadim Muhammad, can do, especially in a game like this, to where it's gonna be important to set that edge. Don't let Derrick Henry, get outside, get that full head of steam, leaving him out there with DBs. I mean, we know Brian Branch gonna bring it, but we just we see what he can
No,
do
you got to
to
be sound because Derrick Henry make you pay. We know Lamar make you pay.
yeah,
They personally scheme to make them defensive ends get them hips turned and kind
yep,
of just like whether it's whether you get them hips turned in this Lamar and there's no way catching them or it's a run pass option. So it's being sound defensive, particularly on the defensive edges, is how you beat Lamar. And so I think this is a big game for us. I think both of us know it's probably an uphill battle and not a game that you want to go up and just lose, but also a game that you don't necessarily have to get where you need to go. But I do think
right,
one of them week three, kind of the yin and yang of the first and second week, you do want to come in and kind of lay your blueprint of, hey, this is who we are. This is one of the big dogs in the leagues playing for a Super Bowl. We're right there with them. So, you know, I guess what are your thoughts with I just come out and say it. Lamar always scares me to death. Yeah,
Yeah,
against
oh no, for
Nebraska.
sure.
Yeah.
It'd be,
Uh,
I mean, it'd be interesting to see what kind of game plan we got.
yeah,
I think, it's kind of nice to be able to see a quarterback like Caleb run around a little bit, and I mean, he did. He beat us a couple times running around. He made some really good throws. And obviously, this is Lamar Jackson. He's two-time MVP Lamar Jackson. This ain't Caleb Williams this week. But I think it's good that we've seen a quarterback run around a little bit. I like that we were able to get on, sack Caleb a few times. And you hope you guys they got to stay in their rush lanes, really,
yeah,
and when you get hands on them, you got to bring them down to the ground. And you really, yeah, got to do what you can, send pressure, get to them as soon as possible. And I mean, we just need Kirby to really be back there, Kirby and Branch, playing middle field and being available, to make some of these plays when he does start moving around that pocket, throwing the ball downfield. Because they're not
yeah,
really like I said this 2 years ago, and it came and bit me in the ass pretty bad. But they don't really have guys like that on the outside. Like they're solid, you know what I'm saying? Like they're like so it's just really like if he can keep Derrick Henry at bay and just not let Lamar get too crazy back there. But
yeah,
you got to get pressure on him because you let him sit in that pocket, he will eat you up now too.
for sure. I mean, just looking at the Cleveland Browns versus them last week. Um, I mean, you mentioned this before we hopped on about how terrifying that they only had 45 rushing yards last week in
41.
in the demolishing. I mean, I don't even know how they do this. Like Lamar Jackson had a hundred and Lamar Jackson had 197 passing yards, and they had 45 rush yards, and they put up 41 points.
Yeah, I'm confused. It doesn't make any sense.
Yeah, I really
No,
don't.
not
And
possible.
I mean, obviously a defensive touchdown helps there, but it's just one of those like you just see how good and dominating they are.
Hmm.
And also, Cleveland, their best thing they probably got on that whole team is their defensive line. So that's how they kind of stuffed the run and forced everything else. So I think they're going to want to come in and establish that run. So we're going to have to be very physical right off rip. Maybe Talik Williams, maybe hey, this is your time to shine. Come show what you can do as far as clogging up that middle, taking up
Yeah.
a couple of guys to let Hutch get busy, whatever that might look like. I think we're going to have to, as we're saying, just kind of contain everything. And then as far as offensively, I want to see whatever we did last week. I like that play selection. I like we found a way to get JMO involved, going deep. You look at the differences. I forgot the stats already, but I think St. Brown had like 9 catches for 113, and
Three
JMO had 2 catches
touchdowns.
for 108. So it's like just when you have two people that talented, that differently talented, it's hard to game plan against with a
Yeah.
Jameer Gibbs, with a Montgomery, whatever. So you know, old line stand up straight, run game, play action. The same thing. I feel like we say the same thing every week. This game is within reason. It's just really executing, and I'm not saying this is not. I'm not saying, but it's not a game we can't win. It's just one of those. I think we're gonna have to play one of a very good, perfect type of ball game.
Sure.
Yeah,
Yeah. Yeah. No, you're right. And I think, I think it's great that we had we had this past week where you put up those amount of points, still wasn't all that clean. Get back to the drawing board, clean some stuff up, you know, motivated to just play better on the road because you didn't, you lost on the road for the first time in like literally like an entire season.
yeah,
Like they didn't that last time they lost on the road was NFC Championship game. So yeah, I mean I feel like they're gonna do some, they're gonna correct some things that they had issues with against Green Bay. You just want to be able to, run that ball, be a little more aggressive downfield. I feel like Baltimore secondary, there's some a little vulnerable back there as well. And yeah, I think we can score with them this time a little bit better than we could last time. We didn't have JMO last time. We got, that I think that's a big aspect to where he can blow the top off, keep them a little bit more honest on the back end, get St. Brown going underneath, try to keep that box as light as possible. I think we'll be in a good spot to at least get into a little shootout with him if necessary.
yeah. Which I think is I agree. We want to have the weapons do it. I think that's probably the last thing you want to do, though. I think you kind of want to. I don't know. Now that I say that, because they're now that I say that, I don't know because they can also. We both of us are weird because we can both ground completely halt and just have
Yeah.
250 rushing yards, or we can each light it up through the air and just exciting. So it's kind of
I feel
yeah,
like it's almost inevitable. 30, 35, I think some points might be scored this time, a little bit more on our end, just around. I do think we can hang with them when it comes to like firepower.
yeah,
Like I think we have better receivers. I think tight ends is marginal. I mean,
yeah.
we got two really, really good running backs, and they got Derrick Henry. Like it, you know what I'm saying? And the
And
quarterbacks, I
Lamar.
mean, we got Jared Goff. You know, who's up there with like the most
No,
touch
no, real
2022.
quick. This is not going to derail our conversation too much, but I was looking at Lamar's career stats yesterday, like straight money, first of all, but his rushing stats are crazy. Like every year
Hmm.
is like no less than 800
Yeah.
and in like six, seven, eight touchdowns a year,
Hmm.
6.1 yards per rush for his career. I'm like, this shit's just like,
Yeah.
yeah, like
It's so clean and
it
efficient.
is. That's what I was gonna say. Just
It's
like,
another- Yeah.
but no. So I guess I'll jump out the window here first on it. I am going to go. I'm gonna do 31-35. Take a
Oh,
second L in the season.
31, 35,
Yeah,
Ravens.
yeah.
I'm gonna go 30-27 Lions.
That'd be either one. I think those would be two good ass games. Like
Yeah.
I do agree. I think the default is put up points. Um, but I would say I think the default is they'll put up points, but I could see this turn into a bit of a slugfest.
Hmm.
Both defense kind of come to play. Maybe each quarterback gets a pick or two, and and it might be really settled into like a 2017 type of deal. Also like I think
Yeah.
our fault. Um, you know, two two teams that are bubbling to need to get that Super Bowl popping.
Yeah.
I think we're in that interesting spot with them, the Bills, whoever. So,
In a fist
uh,
fight to like get over 500, be better be 2-1 than 1-2
yeah, no, for sure. We
as
got
well.
theoretically we won that second game. If we go 0-3, I guess it's impossible to make the playoffs. So
Yeah,
we, I would have to look at the 1 and 2 stats, but I know you got to get that first dub in the column in order to
for
you know
sure.
up those
Much
those numbers.
much easier hurdle getting that